Jeanie Buss, Kurt Rambis, Linda Rambis. What do you make of what's going on there right now with the Lakers, first and foremost?
That the Lakers right now at this particular moment is a mess and an absolute embarrassment. That's what this really comes down to. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers right now, first things first, you offer a 3-year deal to a guy that won a championship and went to 3 straight NBA finals. But you gave Luke Walton 5 years. David Fizdale got 5 years. Derek Fisher, when he was the coach of the New York Knicks, got 5 years. Steve Clifford got 5 years from Charlotte to Orlando. You look at all of those things. Monty Williams, by the way, who they also offered a 3-year deal to, which is why he ended up going to Phoenix. I mean, these are the kind of things that you are the Lakers, that you're doing if you're the Lakers. You're competing against a billionaire in town, the guy worth about $40 billion in Steve Ballmer, and your answer is to penny pinch. That's number one. Number two, you go the route of encouraging a coach to allow you to pick his staff. Most coaches wouldn't do that. It's certainly not championship coaches. You want Kurt Rambis to be an associate head coach. Let's keep in mind who Kurt Rambis is. A good man, knowledgeable about basketball, obviously synonymous with the Lakers organization because he won championships as a player. Fair enough, but outside of his interim tag in both New York and L.A., the one time where he was a full-time head coach was in Minnesota for 2 seasons when he was 32 and 132. That is a 19.5% winning percentage. And this is the man that you have as a senior advisor. This is the man whose wife you have also influencing Jeanie Buss to some degree because she listens to both of them. And obviously you would surmise that she's got to be listening to her ex-fiance, Phil Jackson, which makes sense if you're listening to the coach. As an executive, you don't want to get me started on Phil Jackson's tenure presiding over the New York Knicks, do you? I'm in a nice mood. I don't really want to do that because I'll go nuclear. And so when you look at it from that perspective, all of these things have served to really be a blemish on the Los Angeles Lakers right now, not just because of what you did, but who you did it to. You did it to the guy, presumably, that LeBron James wanted. He is your resident marquee, your superstar, a person that you want to sit up there and keep happy because at least for the next 2 years, you're supposed to have him. He doesn't have a no-trade clause. He has a 3-year deal with an opt-out after the 3rd year, option for a 4th year. You got to believe that with things going the way that they're going, it's an absolute mess. I was told, and I don't know whether to believe it or not or anything like that, but LeBron James had been heavily going after Kawhi Leonard, so much so to the point where he had seen Kawhi Leonard recently in Philadelphia. I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's the scuttlebutt. If that's true, LeBron James did that with the presumption that it was a done deal with Tyronn Lue. So now that things is falling apart with him, who's to say that things are not going to fall apart with LeBron? And now LeBron might not want out to L.A. And that's only that part. The other part is you got folks in Hollywood, not basketball people, but folks in Hollywood who know the Busses that I've been told were encouraging Jeanie Buss months ago to get rid of LeBron, to take that superstar that he is, and because of so much value that he would have, you know what, you ain't gonna win anyway, so just use him to get some assets to build for the future. It's an absolute mess. There's no functionality whatsoever. It's complete dysfunctionality at this particular moment in time.
And it's well articulated by you in all facets, and I'm trying to decide which part of that I want to follow up on.
Take your time.
Let's start with let's start with LeBron. Do we have any idea what he's thinking as he is watching all of this unfold around him?
No, because LeBron James, first of all, he's going to hesitate. He's going to be reluctant to tell you what he feels. Number one, because he wants to control the narrative. Number two, because the shop, the latest edition of the shop hasn't taken place. So God forbid he'll tell the media. He'll be the media and tell you what he wants to tell you. And then even then, he'll have his minions out there. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to his crew because I got mad respect for all of them. But people who are extensions of him, who will put out whatever it is they want to put out, when they want to put out, to convince you to believe what they want you to believe, even when you have no reason to believe it. That's the answer.
Okay. I don't even remember the question, but the answer was spectacular. So now we'll work our way to the other thing you said, and we had some fun sort of kicking it around here this morning, the very notion. Is there any real chance they trade LeBron? And if they actually entertain the possibility of trading LeBron, what would that look like? Who gets involved and what happens?
Well, first of all, we have no idea what it would look like because when you're talking about LeBron James, you're talking about arguably the greatest player in the world. We don't view him that way at this particular moment in time because he's home watching the playoffs with the rest of us, albeit for the first time in 14 years. The reality is that, again, of course, it makes sense to hold on to the marquee, the box office attraction, particularly when you're a Lakers franchise and you don't have the kind of deep pockets that Steve Ballmer has right in the same town for the Los Angeles Clippers. But for all of those out there who would debunk such a theory, who would sit up there and render it utter nonsense, I would ask you a very simple yet rhetorical question. Tell me what has made sense about the Lakers over the last several years. Tell me what. Jim Buss, Mitch Kupchak era, not to say Mitch Kupchak because he's a respected executive, but the Jim Buss era, the dysfunctionality that raked through the franchise like a virus between Jim Buss and Jeanie Buss and what that relationship was like. Remember when they were trying to recruit marquee free agents? Nobody would even look at them because even when they showed up to Lakers facility, you had to meet with them separately because they didn't want to talk to one another. So you had that going on. Now Jim Buss is gone. Magic Johnson's coming in. He's the savior. Oh my God. Everything's going to be just great. And what happens? He quits on you. Doesn't even tell you that he's quitting. Doesn't tell LeBron James that he's quitting. That's what happened. Who's your GM? Rob Pelinka. What's his executive experience? He's an agent. Not an executive in the NBA. No experience. He's an experienced agent, not an experienced GM. He's a GM with the Lakers that can't get calls returned. And then all of a sudden you're hearing the name Linda Rambis. I know Kurt Rambis. I didn't know anything about Linda Rambis other than the fact that she was Jeannie's best friend until weeks ago. And now you have her influencing basketball